to think it was nearly a year ago that Griffin Park saw its last game. It was a night rich with emotion as Brentford bade farewell to their old idiosyncratic stadium with victory over Swansea City. A superb performance to set up their passage to the playoff final. Now listen to this roar as the men in red and white are let out by Pontus Jansson. Well, the hope at the time was that Brentford would also be saying goodbye to the Championship, but that didn't come to fruition. Fulham saw to that, and the Bees made the mile journey east to their new stadium at something of a crossroads. Would they be able to consolidate after the departures of Ben Rama and Watkins? Would the metrics provide able replacements? You bet. The season on, and a ground built for top-level football, the home leg of their latest playoff semi-final represents the biggest game that the stadium has seen to date. Emotions high again as some of the club's fans visit this magnificent arena for the very first time. A crowd of 4,300, passionate and pumped. Optimistic? Well, maybe not. These fans have been battle-scarred with only one win in the last 14 playoff matches in regulation time. That plays on fans' minds, but not the protagonists. They will draw upon 12 months ago. Then, right now, they lost the first leg of the semi 1-0 away from home, but they race into a 2-0 lead in the first 10 minutes of the second. That's the precedent that needs emulating. Well, Bournemouth's playoff history is at the other end of the scale. They're yet to lose a game in the end-of-season circus. They impressed on Monday in the first leg with the attacking endeavours of Danjuma and Brooks. Dutchman's goal in Dorset was his 10th in his last 15 appearances. The original selection of Dalsgaard at right wing back to negate him made perfect sense, but an injury to Norgard in the warm-up means that Roslev starts again, and Danjuma against Roslev was an area the Cherries dominated on Monday. The two sides that were relegated with Bournemouth have already secured their safe passage back into the elite. Will the clean sweep still be on the cards at 3 o'clock? Well, Brentford lined up Raya in goal, Dalsgaard, Jansson, Pinnock, Roslev, Jensen, Janelt, Marcondes and Canos, and Tony and Mbermo, who missed that sitter up front. Bournemouth, Begovic in goal, Smith, Carter Vickers, Mepham and Kelly, Pearson and Lerma, Brooks, Billing, Danjuma and Solanke. Jared Gillett, the Australian, is the referee. And it is going to be Bournemouth that will get us underway in their change kit, mint green shirts and dark blue shorts, and they will kick from right to left. Brentford attacking the east stand in this first half. Just a little bit of calm before the storm. And before kick-off, players who see fit take the knee. Advantage Bournemouth, but that advantage is so slender. A place under the arch beckons. Prepare for 90 or maybe 120 minutes of high-stakes, high-octane football. Who will be going through to the playoff final?
Oh, that's the million-dollar question. We're looking forward to it, aren't we? Such a great game in store. Do you know, there's a danger. I'm looking at the two teams and the two managers, actually. You know, Thomas Frank, he's like a jack in a box. He's excited. He's pumped for the game. Jonathan Woodgate, very relaxed in his manner and his demeanour. There is a danger you can be too pumped for this type of atmosphere, this type of fixture. You've got to just remember it's another game. It's 90 minutes. Yes, there's a lot at stake, but you have to play it like you have done the other 46 games in the season.
It's Brentford that are in possession with Pinnock laying it back for his goalkeeper. Raya is put under pressure and he's just scuffed it out, but deliberately guiding it through the midfield for Jensen, who can turn and play in Roslev, who wasn't expecting to be in the starting lineup today. The injury to Norgard in the warm-up, incidentally, an exacerbation of an injury that he picked up in training on Thursday, a slight adductor problem, and that means that they had to shuffle things around. The fact that it was an injury that he'd been carrying since Thursday probably means they were kind of expecting it and knew exactly what the plan would be, but it has seen Dalsgaard drop into the centre halves and Roslev play at right wing back. It's Bournemouth's left wing back, the very highly rated Lloyd Kelly, making his 50th appearance in the club, who throws it forward here. And Jansson has been sent off against Bournemouth earlier this season, just guides it forward. Bournemouth winning it back. Kelly calming things down, and immediately Brentford have another injury problem. Jensen is down injured, holding his thigh right in front of us, and having lost one player to injury in the warm-up. I just wonder whether Brentford have going to lose another here. Jensen is just getting back to his feet, but he's not in a position to be able to contribute to play. Play has continued. Brentford had the opportunity to put it out of play so that he could receive whatever treatment was necessary, but elected not to do that. You would talk sport. We're a couple of minutes in. It's 0-0, 1-0. Bournemouth lead on aggregate as Pearson works it wide for Smith, and Adam Smith makes his way up the Bournemouth right-hand side. Ball taking a deflection into the hoardings and out of play for a Cherries throw.
It looks like he's okay. I mean, he's still walking gingerly, Matthias Jensen. Looks like he might be able to continue. It's actually been a story, hasn't it, of injuries already, with Bournemouth missing Steve Cook. You talked about Norgard getting injured in the warm-up. They knew it was a potential problem, having picked up the injury in training on Thursday, but Steve Cook's the same. I think that's a big loss for Bournemouth, although Chris Mepham came into the team and did very well.
Yeah, Mepham seen very little first-team action under Jonathan Woodgate. He'd had a poor performance in a match against Queen's Park Rangers and had lost his place as a result of that, but it'll mean a lot for him, particularly as a former Brentford player coming back, playing here. Opportunity for Bournemouth to break forward down the right-hand side with Solanke. Solanke trying to trick his way through, goes down, no foul, just outside the penalty area. Ball cleared high up in the air, then headed away. Jefferson Lerma guarding it back, finding Pearson. There's Oppo in the centre of the Bournemouth midfield, and then the ball forward is just a little bit too heavy, and Pinnock can watch it over the line and out of play for a Brentford goal kick. 3.5 minutes gone here on Talk Sport. It's Brentford 0, Bournemouth 0, and here's Matt Holland.
A good example actually of someone else talking to pre-match with Adrian was Dominic Solanke there. Again, working the channel down that right-hand side, but not necessarily in the width of the penalty box. Get himself in the area where he can score goals. Sometimes you have to allow other players to do that. It's fabulous work rate, fabulous team player, but sometimes you just have to be a bit more selfish as a centre forward.
And it was Brentford there, defending from the front, that put the pressure. Begovic didn't have a passing option that he wanted. Lloyd Kelly not in the position that he'd hoped, and he's put it out of play for a throw. And an opportunity for Dalsgaard to try and launch one inside the penalty area here. Tony stands on the edge of the 6-yard box. Jensen, who is still continuing, just making his way down the right-hand side of the penalty area. Ball thrown in, Billing heads it away, but it's out for the first corner. It's the best defensive header by any stretch of the imagination.
About to say, a very poor header from Billing. Sort of skewed off the side of his head, out for a corner. Brentford the opportunity, early set piece.
There's a set piece which is going to be taken on the Brentford right-hand side. It's going to be Brian Mbermo, the Frenchman, to swing it in. Be a left-footed delivery. They've got 5 or 6 making runs from the edge of the penalty area. Hit him very deep, peeling away at the back post. It's nodded back into the fray. Kelly and his arms round the nearest Brentford player, Janssen, and the counter-attack is on. Brentford defending with a highlight. What a glorious opportunity it is for Danjuma! 1-0! Bournemouth ahead inside the opening 5 minutes. Brentford have pushed everybody forward for the corner, and as soon as Bournemouth won the first contact and then the second, the counter-attack was on. 1-0 on the night. It's 2-0 on aggregate. It's so reminiscent of the goal that Manchester United conceded against Başakşehir in the Champions League earlier this season. I understand that Brentford have got to commit bodies forward, but you're only 5 minutes into the second leg, and as soon as Bournemouth turned the possession over, there wasn't a Brentford player, apart from the goalkeeper, within 75 yards of his own goal. Danjuma took it forward to the edge of the penalty area, slotted it in. It's Brentford 0, Bournemouth 1, and 2-0 to the Cherries on aggregate.
Well, you can't win a game in the first 5 minutes, but you can sure lose one. That is just terrible organisation from a Brentford point of view. I'll tell you what, when Danjuma picks this ball up, he's got a lot to do. He has to get it under control, still have the pace to get away from the 2 retreating defenders, and he's still got to have the composure to slide it past the goalkeeper. It is top class from Danjuma. Scored in the first leg, he's scored in the second leg. It is the perfect start for Bournemouth.
And delirium on the Bournemouth bench There's staff sitting not too far in front of us, absolutely ecstatic at the start that they've made. And Jefferson Lerma looks so much to push Tony there. Was expecting a free kick to be given, but the assistant referee only flagged for a goal kick rather than flagging to indicate that there had been a foul. And Asmir Begovic will be in no hurry to take this goal kick. Well, cauldron-like atmosphere, and we talked about how the fans were up for it. Thomas Frank coming around and buoying them up even more. But you just wonder whether it has. Counted against Brentford, whether it's a rush of blood to the head. The manner of the concession to the goal at this early stage of the game is extraordinary.
Well, I said there's a danger you can be too pumped for an atmosphere like this, and you vacate your responsibilities, and somebody has not done their job. I don't know who it is and who should be back at the corner, but somebody has not done their job properly.
Well, again, just wondering how something like that can happen. You wonder whether it was the fact that Norgard got injured in the warm-up. Maybe he was the one that was supposed to be staying back. I don't know, but it was inexplicable. And Brentford have it all to do now. So they have to score 2 without reply to take it to extra time. Just to reiterate the situation, I know you're aware of it, it's been this way for 20 years, but away goals have no bearing. So it's not as if Brentford need to score 3 from here. They need to score 2 to get into extra time. The crowd reacting to an injury to a Bournemouth player. It's Brooks over on the far touchline who is down. Brentford play on as they have a right to do. It's up to the referee to stop the game. Ball whipped inside the penalty area. Carter Vickers can volley it clear. Billing will guide it further clear. Goes out of play for a throw, and now David Brooks can receive whatever treatment is necessary.
Well, he's absolutely furious, David Brooks. He feels a foul should have been awarded in his direction. Wasn't forthcoming. He's had a difficult job, actually, the referees so far in the game, because there's been a number of incidents where players have gone to ground expecting a foul. There was Tony under pressure from Jefferson Lerma down in this far corner, and he anticipated he should have been given a free kick. David Brooks back on his feet now, and he'll be okay, but he was absolutely furious that he wasn't awarded a free kick.
Well, he's had his injury problems this season. It was not a good challenge on him from Emi Marcondes, and then Brooks just put an index finger to his lips to try and silence the Brentford fans who were calling him a cheat. It's all going off. 9 minutes gone. Brentford 0, Bournemouth 1, 2-0 to Bournemouth on aggregate. Has the feel of one of those games that might not necessarily end 11 against 11. But how good to have the supporters back, just bringing the vibrancy. A game of such high stakes. We saw the playoffs last season played behind closed doors. It's infinitely preferable in the situation that we are now, with the ground 25% full. Brentford trying to play out from the back. Dalsgaard laying it back for the bearded Janssen, who chips it forward. It's flicked on by Lerma, brought down by Billing. Billing's got Danjuma to his left-hand side. Janssen's won it back, and Dalsgaard can play out from the back and find Ruslev. And the young Dane plays it through the midfield. Intelligent movement from Mbermo, and then a lovely take and great pass out to the left. It was just a little bit heavy for Canos and goes out of play. But the idea was right for Brentford, who need to try and get some more attacking momentum into the game. We didn't see too much of it in the first leg on Monday. And Bournemouth will be more than happy as a side who have that counter-attacking weapon. To be in this situation is a massive bonus for them. 10 minutes gone, 1-0 up on the day, 2-0 up on aggregate.
Yeah, scored a counter-attacking goal, didn't they, in the first leg, and they've done exactly the same in this second. You can see already that Brentford are going to attack down that left-hand side. Canos is really pushing forward in that left wing-back position, trying to get forward at every opportunity.
And then Tony gets involved as he is fouled. There was just a little shove on Mepham. It's going to be a Brentford free kick.
They just need to calm down, Brentford. You know, they're fighting and arguing with it over every decision. Just need to relax. Yes, it's a big game, but as I said at the start, you've played 46 matches to get yourself into this position. Don't do anything different. Don't prepare any differently. Don't approach the game any differently. It's another game. Go and get a victory. But they are overly pumped, and they just need to relax and calm down.
So this free kick given away by Mepham has given Brentford an opportunity. About 20 yards or so outside the penalty area. An opportunity just to tease it in. David Brooks stands as a one-man wall. Two players of Brentford, actually blocking the view of Begovic of where the ball is at the moment. Jensen's the man that you would imagine is just going to try and drive this forward. It is actually flicked round the corner, left-footed in from Mbeumo, headed away easily by Lerma inside the penalty area, and now Danjuma with an opportunity to try and take on Roslev, who's just run across him, blocked off his run, and he goes out of play for a throw. Big appeals from those on the Bournemouth bench that it should have been a free kick, but it was good defending from Roslev. And now Jensen will play it down for Dalsgaard, who goes back for Janssen. And Janssen about 10 yards inside his own half and knocks it square again. Brentford had the third best home record in the division. They were only beaten here twice all season. Lost to Barnsley and lost to Preston as well. Tony with a flying header went off target but almost found its way through towards Mbeumo. It worked much better as a flick on than as an attempt on goal, and Kelly's forced to come across and concede another corner, which is Brentford's second, and we all know what happened from the first one.
Yeah, a couple of times actually tried to get in behind Ivan Toney, but Bournemouth are so deep, there isn't a lot of space in behind.
They're doing it again.
They are. I'm looking at the organisation. They've got 2 men on the edge of the box, but they've got nobody on the halfway line. It's incredible. Well, it must be the way they set up then from corners.
Well, once bitten, certainly not twice shy. And the counter-attack could be on again for Bournemouth if they win the first header here. In it comes from Jensen. He's worked in his short towards the near post. He's flicked on. And Lerma tries to get it away. Shot comes in from distance. It's deflected wide for what would have been a corner, but the whistle had gone, and it's a free kick to Bournemouth on the edge of their own penalty area. Well, I must admit I'm a little bit bemused as to how they set up in that same way again, where the deepest of the outfield players was on the edge of the D. I know that football is a game that is primarily based on gaining numerical advantages in parts of the pitch, and maybe that's why they had tried to do it, but it doesn't half leave you open.
It's incredible, honestly. I just watched a replay of the goal again, and as soon as Bournemouth picked up possession in the box, Danjuma was off, and before, I think it was Carter Vickers actually who made the clearance. Before he even touched the ball, he's then 10 yards ahead of the next Brentford player. So he had the space to run to it. It was a difficult one because he was bouncing in front of him and he had to get it under control first before he then had the pace to get away from them. It was an excellent goal from Danjuma, it really was.
Scored the winner in the first leg, scored the go-ahead goal in this second leg. He's now scored in each of his last 3 away games, Danjuma, and it's 11 in his last 16 games all told. Switch of play from Brentford from left to right. Jensen able to pick it up. Jensen clipping it inside the box. It's a header away from Mepham, and he goes out of play and out for a throw. You just sense, I know we're only 14 minutes into the game, that this could be one of the special games. Tony playing it in. Marcondes. It was unorthodox defending from Kelly, and it's a penalty to Brentford. Handball. Now Kelly came to try and block the cross, which was flicked in from the right-hand side of the penalty area, and it looked as though he was leaning forward. I don't know that his arm was in an unnatural position away from the side of his body, but Jarrod Gillett gave himself some thinking time, and he is awarded a penalty to Brentford for the handball by Kelly. We're just waiting to see a replay on our monitors.
It's a massive call. It was very close, wasn't it, Kelly, to the proximity of ball to hand. It's about a yard. He's got absolutely no time to react. His arm's up in the air, granted, but I think that's a harsh one, personally.
No VAR, of course. So the penalty given, and an opportunity for Brentford to get themselves back into this second leg 10 minutes after conceding the first goal.
I think at the start of the season in the Premier League we saw that happen quite a lot, and we saw penalties given, and that changed. I just think the proximity of that ball to hand is about a yard away.
I'd have to have a look at another replay, but I just wonder whether it's hit him above shoulder height. Although that he's going down, whether it's hit him above shoulder height, he's got more of a case to answer. Anyway, it's Ivan Toney with a chance to make it 1-1 and get Brentford back within a goal. Right-footed, he's going to hit this against Asmir Begovic. The roar says it all, and Brentford are back in the game. Ivan Toney's 32nd goal of the season, and then a skirmish off the ball. Begovic has gone down on the left-hand side of the penalty area, holding his face. Brentford trying to get the ball back so that they can restart play. This is really boiling over. 1-1, and it's 2-1 to Bournemouth on aggregate.
This is the drama of the playoffs. What an opening quarter of an hour we've had in this game. Bournemouth taking the lead on the counter. Brentford responding. Ivan Toney, 32 goals for the season now, makes no mistake from the spot. Game on.
No chance this ends 11 against 11, by the way. Begovic took the ball out from the back of his net and then was making his way forward. Toney tried to wrestle it off him. It got a little bit unseemly. Things have been calmed down for now. To say that tensions and spirits are high is a massive understatement. 16 minutes gone. I'll tell you something, we've said it before. To the man who invented the playoffs, I doff my cap to you. 1-1. And now a test of resilience and mettle for Bournemouth. But they are effectively only back in the same situation they were at the start of the day. And indeed, they've only got 73 minutes to defend a one-goal aggregate lead as opposed to the 90 that they had at the beginning of this second leg. It's a throw to Bournemouth and it's one apiece.
David Moyes will tell you it was a Scotsman that invented the playoffs.
And still appears to be arguing with throw to Brentford, which will be taken on this near side by Brian and Burma. In fact, it's rolled it back. It's going to be a free kick, which will just be taken on the right-hand touchline by Dalsgaard. Lays it back for Janssen. And the two sides played earlier this season. Here, Bournemouth took the lead that day. Dominic Solanke, they led for 12 minutes and lost 2-1. Today, they've taken the lead and held the lead for 11 minutes. It's 1-1 at the moment. Here is Solanke, left-hand side of the penalty area. A misdirected cross, clipped in towards the near post. Couldn't find Phil Billing. Brentford got their tails up and an opportunity to bring it forward. And Burmo down to the right-hand touchline, the near side for Dalsgaard. Flick round the corner for Toney. Too much on the ball for Burmo. And it goes through to Asmir Begovic. But what a game this is in the playoffs. Semi-final second leg on TalkSport.
What a ridiculous tempo to the game. And the pantomime villain is Asmir Begovic. You heard the boos there from the Brentford crowd. That's because when the Toney penalty went in, he held onto the ball. Toney was trying to get it so they could restart the game quickly. And the Brentford fans have taken exception to that.
Both players were booked, incidentally. I don't know that I mentioned that, but Begovic and Toney both in the book as a result of that altercation afterwards. Here's Brooks. Brooks trying to take on and beat Pinnock, and he's done that. And he's got Adam Smith to his right. He's got Billing to his left. And his touch was just too heavy. And that gave Dalsgaard the opportunity to come across and clear it, and he almost stuck it onto the M4.
Oh, it was brilliant for the first 30 yards. His first three touches were superb. Got away from Pinnock brilliantly. And he just overhit his touch, which meant that Brentford could recover. Adam Smith had made a brilliant run to his right, as they normally so good, David Brooks, at picking the right pass at the right time. Not on this occasion.
Adam Smith to take a throw on the Bournemouth right-hand side. 1-1 the scoreline. Jim Proudfoot and Matt Holland talking through the action here from the Brentford Community Stadium as Kelly plays it down towards Danjuma, the scorer of both Bournemouth's goals, one in each leg. Back through the midfield for Lerma, and now Lerma will go back inside his own half for Mepham. Mepham to Carter Vickers on loan from Tottenham, played by him out to another former Tottenham player, Adam Smith. He's been caught by Canos, and it's a free kick which will be taken by Bournemouth. Winners of this will end up in the final, which is a week today, and we've got it for you, of course, on TalkSport. Someday that, by the way, next Saturday, Championship playoff final and the Champions League final, both on TalkSport for you. Is it going to be Swansea? Is it going to be Barnsley that the winners of this will play? We'll find out together with a 6:30 kickoff from South Wales. Nigel Adderley and David Connolly talking through the second leg of that one, with Swansea leading by a goal to nil from the first leg at Oakwell. And between now and then, over on TalkSport 2, Sunderland Lincoln this afternoon, which is a 3:30 kickoff with Dance. Here's Carter Vickers. And Carter Vickers plays it forward for the shaggy head Pearson, and now it's worked by Lerma. High ball from him, which is chased by Dominic Solanke, and just safely guided back to the edge of the penalty area and cleared by David Ryan.
there was good work there actually from Ben Pearson, because Adam Smith had been caught high up the pitch, and his recovery was to get back into the right back position and make the challenge. I think it's a big bonus actually for Jonathan Woodgate that he was fit. He does add bite and he adds energy to that midfield for Bournemouth.
Well, we talked about Brentford possibly being a little bit overcooked in the first 10 minutes or so, but they're playing some good football now, no doubt about that. They've grown into the game. Here's Ruslev, corner of the penalty area, pulled back by him to Janelt. Janelt resisting the temptation to shoot. Might wish that he had, because as he chipped it over the top, he's overhit a ball for Canos, adrenaline pumping through the veins, and it goes out of play for a goal kick, which the booze will tell you is going to be taken by Asmir Begovic. Not that he will be fazed, the man who's played in a World Cup. Just having another look at the penalty decision that went against Lloyd Kelly. What do you think, Matt?
I mean, it hits the hand. It does hit the hand. There's no question about that at all. I'm not sure who's made the decision, because the person that could see it best was the assistant. I mean, he was only about 15 yards away from the incident. He's the one who could see it better than the referee. It looked like the referee was quite quick to give the penalty without the help of the assistant, but it was the assistant who had the better view.
Yes, Phil Dermott, who is the man making the decisions, right in front of us on this near touchline.
You can see Bournemouth just trying to take the bit of sting out of the game. Every time there's a free kick, they take the time over it, they relax, they try and play the ball backwards, they're just trying to keep the ball, keep possession.
Smith loses out to Jensen, and Burmo's picked it up. Burmo able to turn on the edge of the penalty area, but he very quickly loses it, and Adam Smith gets it forward for Bournemouth and wins the throw. Wasn't too happy about the lack of movement ahead of him, but it will be a Bournemouth throw level with the edge of their own penalty area over on the right-hand touchline. We're exactly midway through the first half of this second leg. Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1, Danjuma on 6. And Tony from the spot on 17 after a Lloyd Kelly handball.
Is that right? 22 minutes into the game. Games go quicker with fans as well, don't they?
It feels like we've played about 6 or 7, doesn't it? It's just remarkable. These playoff games this week have been sensational. Brooks bringing it forward, right-hand side of the penalty area here for Bournemouth, and Jansen couldn't let him get too far, just leant back and stuck a right foot in to steer it away, and Bournemouth now have their first corner. They score from Brentford's first. The Cherries having the first of their own here. Danjuma's going to go out and take it, and they're already doing everything they can to try and slow the game down. They've earned the right, they have the aggregate lead.
I've seen a couple of runs now from David Brooks, though. Just serves as a bit of a warning for Brentford. If they do throw bodies forward on the counter, Bournemouth are a danger. Both times they could run away from him, but the signs are there.
Danjuma to take the corner. Brooks, edge of the area for the short one if he wants it. I'm sure it's going to be played in directly inside the box. It is just clipped in. Billing is up there. It's come past everybody. Beppen was closest to it, and then looked like a little push from Billing, who hasn't been able to get into the game so far for Bournemouth, and it's a free kick which will be taken on the Brentford right.
I know the game's gone quickly, but Thomas Frank's already pointing at his watch to say that Bournemouth are taking the time over everything. There's plenty of time left yet.
There's a little bit of match management going on, and as I often say, it's an observation, it's not a criticism. I would want my side to do that, and then the instruction from the Wiley pros, the likes of Messrs Woodgate and Jordan will have just reminded the players that the less playing time there is when they have the aggregate lead, the better. But here's Roslev, good breaking forward here from the blonde-haired Dane, and Burmo to his right. Tony's in the middle. Jensen free on the edge of the area. It's played in towards Tony, a swinging ball that Carter Vickers can clear. Out towards Marcondes, wearing 9 but playing in central midfield, and Burmo down towards Roslev again. He gets towards the byline, right-footed ball in from him, headed away by Chris Mepham. Out to Janelt in his white boots, and the German turns very neatly. Very adept in possession, Janelt. Now Marcondes to Roslev, and Roslev's cross hits Lerma and goes out of play for a throw on the Brentford right-hand side. The original ball that went out of play was thrown back on from a supporter. The one that Roslev picked up to take the throw is then discarded. And between them, eventually, they settle on a ball of the two, and play restarts. Here's Roslev, trying to take on Kelly and go the long way around him. Kelly, too cute to allow that to happen. Just plays it back for Janelt. Janelt to Jansen, who's the only Brentford outfield player inside his own half. 25 minutes in at 1-1, and the long ball forward beats everybody and goes straight through to Asmir Begovic, still being reminded for his part in the altercation with Ivan Toney 10 minutes ago. 1-1 here on TalkSport.
Yeah, Brentford are pressing. I mean, Brentford are pushing high up the pitch. There's not a lot of space in behind. Ivan Toney again just a little bit slow to get himself back on side, but even so, Bournemouth are very deep. They're not leaving that space in behind them. But Brentford are the team on the front foot. There's always the danger that Bournemouth can counter. We've seen it already in this game. Saw it in the first leg.
2 attempts on target so far in the game. They've both gone in. In fact, there's only been one other shot in the 26 minutes that we've seen so far. Bournemouth have got it, and it's Danjuma who retrieves it from in front of the hoardings on this near touch line. Thomas Frank is up and again has just got his left hand up in the air, pointing at his watch once more, and Danjuma being given the hurry up by the referee as he dropped the ball so that Kelly could take the throw. Kelly takes it now down towards the corner flag for Danjuma, and one back by Marcondes. High ball forward from him. Carter Vickers wrestling with Toney. Won it. Referee lets that go on. Janelt then plays it forward. Mepham, quick glance over his shoulder to see who is where, and he's wrestled and Blomo to the ground. This could well be a red card. Bournemouth down to 10, and Chris Mepham on his return to Brentford is sent off, and there can be no complaints. He had a look round to see exactly where Mbeumo was, much closer than he thought, and Mbeumo had that yard of pace he was going to get through, and Mepham has wrestled him to the ground, and it's a free kick, but it's outside the penalty area. Clear denial of a goal scoring opportunity, and Chris Mepham walks, and Brentford, a goal down in aggregate, have a man advantage.
Well, that's a definite sending off, and I just looked at Jonathan Woodgate's reaction when Chris Mepham made the decision to bring him down. I mean, it's terrible defending. He took too long on the ball, and Mbeumo was past him, and he stuck out a hand and tripped him to the ground. It's an absolute stonewall red card. But Jonathan Woodgate turned to his bench, sent his subs to go and warm up. He's going to make a change straight away. I mean, it's a horrific decision from Chris Mepham. Yes, he had a bit of time, and Mbeumo was probably 15 yards away from him when he had his first touch, but then he dawdled on the ball, and he's shaking his head, Jonathan Wood. He can't believe the decision that Chris Mepham has made.
So it's going to be Diego Rico to come on. He'll come on at left back. They'll move Kelly into the middle, but they've got to defend the free kick with 10 men first. There's a bit of consternation about the award of the penalties. Absolutely none about the award of that red card. Stonewall.
The free kick's about 10 yards further out than it probably was.
Ball flicked in. Toney trying to turn. Was he shoved to the ground? No. The referee had a look and says that he wasn't. And he was judged just to have lost his balance of his own volition. It was a coming together that wasn't instigated by the Bournemouth defender.
He might have been offside, actually. He might have been offside. It was a very high line that Bournemouth played, and I think he might have just been offside. It wasn't given, by the way. I think he just threw himself to ground. I think the referee's got that right.
Well, it's going to be a Bournemouth free kick, and they will make the change. I wonder who will be coming off. It's Brooks. So Rico for Brooks. That was always likely to be Brooks, I suppose, on the basis that it's not going to take the striker Solanke off. Danjuma of the wide men is the one that has been the more effective in these two legs so far. So Brooks, the player that comes off, he's sacrificed. Rico comes on. He'll come on at left back. Kelly moves into the middle alongside Carter Vickers.
5 minutes into the game, it was all going swimmingly, wasn't it, for Bournemouth? A goal up already, 2-0 on aggregate. All of a sudden it's turned around in the blink of an eye. Brentford are level, Bournemouth are down to 10 men. They've got it all to do to hold on to this 2-1 advantage.
Begovic taking the free kick then in all orange right in front of us. A high spinning ball towards the edge of the penalty area, which is headed away by Ruslev, and then returned by Jefferson Lerma. Ruslev again wins it. Marcondes takes it down on his chest. Dalsgaard knocks it square to his left, getting Canos forward down the left, and that is where there might be a little bit of space now for Brentford, and a challenge comes in on Canos, who come infield, and he was caught by Adam Smith, and it's a free kick which will be taken by Brentford about 10 yards inside their opponent's half, and they've taken it quickly with a good strong run down the right from Roslev. Diego Rico, first examination of his ability since coming on, and he's passed it. He's flipped it into Roslev and out of play for a goal kick. And if you thought they were wasting time beforehand, Thomas Frank, I tell you, they're going to eke as many seconds as they possibly can out now that they've got 59 minutes ahead of them with 10 men. It could be 89 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Bournemouth, we have to be careful not to sit too deep now. Not to say, okay, that's it, we're just going to shut up shop, we're just going to try and hold on to what we've got. We've still got to carry a threat going forward, so it's important that Solanke doesn't get isolated. You've still got to get Danjuma around him, try and get him up the pitch as much as possible. Can't just sit back and try and think, 60 minutes, we're just going to soak up the pressure that's going to come our way.
Possession at the moment, 64-36 in Brentford's favour. Still only the 2 shots to 1 in their favour. 1-1 the scoreline, 2-1 Bournemouth lead on aggregate. High clearance from Rico, which comes down only about 10 feet in front of him. And Pearson will turn it forward, and Janssen and Pinnock between them get the lines of communication right and will guide it back to the goalkeeper. Well, an opportunity now Brentford have, you would think, to go back to a back 4, play Dalsgaard almost as a more conventional right back if they wanted to. Certainly get Canos up into more advanced areas down the left whenever they can. He has it now, and he finds Jensen. White Alice band in his hair. Back towards Dalsgaard. Dalsgaard bringing it forward. The white-booted Marcondes is in space on the Brentford right. Ball goes the other way though towards Canos, becoming more of an influence now. Ball in from him. It's Tony, and he's put it wide. Well, he got free in behind Lloyd Kelly. He's only 4 yards out. He's headed it into the ground, but a yard wide.
Well, that's a huge miss. Someone of his ability and the goals that he's scored this season, again, you're wondering whether he's offside or not. Actually, he's got it absolutely spot on, the assistant. He times his run to perfection. Lloyd Kelly straight away turning around saying he's offside. He isn't offside. He's only, 5 yards out. He's got to go back across the goalkeeper, back where the cross came from. He tries to go towards that near post, and it just comes off the side of his head. It's a poor finish.
Pulsating, nail-biting, nerve-jangling playoff action here on TalkSport. 1-1 between Brentford and Bournemouth. Carter Vickers turning it away. 2-1 to the South Coast side on aggregate, and Bournemouth have another player down hurt now over on the far touchline. I don't know whether that's as a result of something that happened in play or whether it's a muscle problem. Is it Billing that's down hurt?
Looks like it's Billing, yeah.
Bournemouth medical staff are ready. I don't think they're going to be given the permission to come on. He's just getting back to his feet now, and makes his way back inside his own half.
Gary O'Neill, part of the Bournemouth coaching staff, he's actually stationed not far away from us on the left-hand side, but he's been up and down the steps down to the touchline on a regular basis, and he's just trying to get the message down to Jonathan Woodgate about what needs to happen. And you can see Jonathan Woodgate trying to squeeze his team up, because I said they can't be too deep and invite the pressure.
He must have walked past us about 25 times, Gary O'Neill, and there's no exaggeration. Walking up and down those steps. Long throw to come inside the penalty area from Pinnock from the Brentford left. Begovic has been crowded out of it. Rico clears it off the line. Acrobatic overhead kick comes back in and goes wide. Great defending from the Bournemouth substitute Diego Rico. And Bournemouth's aggregate lead stays intact as a result of that. He was off balance, got his left foot to it. Begovic had come out and got blocked off. There are verbals going on between him and Tony as Begovic is down on one knee, claiming that he has been winded by the challenge. It is all going on.
He actually got bumped by his own man. Hence there was no foul. He's looking for a free kick, but he actually ran into Lloyd Kelly, which bounced him to the ground. As I say, they're going to take every opportunity to try and take minutes and time out the game now, Bournemouth. But Diego Rico, absolutely brilliant defending. He smelt the danger. He knew his goalkeeper was in trouble. The little flick header, he read that the ball was going back towards his own goal, and he was able to read that danger and clear it. Absolutely brilliant defending from him.
There's a little bit of ill feeling between the two benches as well now. It is boiling over, and the Begovic-Tony incidents that have been on running, we haven't seen the end of those yet. There's still plenty of verbals going on between the pair of them. Just getting yet another view of the Lloyd Kelly handball, which gave Brentford the penalty. And looking at the referee's view of it, he was stationed about 20 yards away, maybe. Don't know whether he had the best angle, but what I will say is that they're working as a team. The assistant referee on this near touchline would have been in a good position, and will have told the referee what he thought. They are obviously all in communication.
The hands, it comes at him from such a close distance. His hands are above his head, and it does hit the hand. I don't know what handball is anymore.
I mean, it is a law which has been redrafted. The interpretation of it has changed, almost blown with the wind over the course of this season. Come back to it in a moment. Marcondes threads it in towards Burma. Rico with the challenge wins it. Pearson will be able to bring it away. My own personal view, for what it's worth, is that shouldn't be a handball. I don't think that should be penalised. I'm not saying that the officials have got it wrong with the law as it is at the moment, though, but I think that the law maybe should be redrafted to make sure that when it's knocked into you from such close range as that, it isn't handball. Ball's played down the right-hand side now for Ruslev, who's getting forward whenever he can. Jefferson Lerma, never a shrinking violet, was in strongly on him. Dived in front of him, initiated a bit of contact. It is a goal kick. For a neutral, Matt, this is sensational. If you've got any emotional investment, it will be tough. It'll be tough, but it is great. 1-1, 37 minutes gone. Bournemouth 2-1 up on aggregate. They're a man down because Chris Mepham's been sent off. Begovic clears it right-footed down towards the left-hand side. You with TalkSport with our exclusive EFL playoff coverage. And Tony is trying to bustle his way through here. Tony inside the penalty area. No foul there. Carter-Vickers got in front of him. He just blocked him off. Tony gets back to his feet. No complaints.
No, and I think he knew it himself as well, Ivan Toney. I'll tell you what, he did the first bit superbly. Got away from two Bournemouth defenders brilliantly, and then again he just went to ground too easily. It was Carter-Vickers who came across to make the challenge. He threw himself into Carter-Vickers. Nothing doing. I'll tell you what, I'm not wishing this game away, but I'll tell you what, I'm quite looking forward to half-time because I need a breather.
I think we could be getting extra time, you would sense. And in some ways, Bournemouth might settle for that at the moment because they're under the cosh. The possession going up all the time, the shot count going up steadily. They've got this numerical disadvantage. They've already had a clear one off the line. Here's Pinnock, bring it forward, out from the back for Brentford. And it'll be spun forward down the line for Jensen. Jensen, who went down injured in the opening couple of moments, but has been okay since then. Lerman, the other number 8, has done well. It's good defending that. He's played it off Jensen and had to play for a throw. Now, tomorrow, another big day of action for you. First of all, from the playoffs, Morecambe Tranmere. What a first leg that was, by the way, on the Wirral on Thursday night. And then Forest Green against Newport. That's 12:30 and 6:30 over on TalkSport 2. It is also, of course, the final day of Premier League action. Adrian's at Anfield. We've got Leicester Tottenham, West Ham Southampton, Arsenal Brighton, Leeds West Brom, and Sheffield United Burnley. All of those games for you. Leicester Spurs here on TalkSport, West Ham Southampton on 2, and the games at Arsenal, Leeds and Sheffield United are all on the TalkSport app. If you haven't downloaded that, I urge you to do so before what promises to be a thrilling climax to the Premier League season tomorrow. And this climax of the Championship season ain't bad either. As Brentford bring it forward here. It's out for a throw, taken short to Jensen. And Jensen will check back and get it away from Billing. Pulls it back through the midfield for Janelt. Janelt now inside his own half for Dalsgaard. And Dalsgaard takes a touch and then controls it and slightly misdirects the ball square to his left-hand side, but Pinnock had no end of time to deal with it. Played forward by Janelt. The pressure from Bournemouth on the ball only comes when Brentford get within about 20 yards of the edge of the box. Ruslev with a cross. Diego Rico blocked that. He's got to the pace of the game well. Dalsgaard to Ruslev, who's controlled that well. And Danjuma uses his strength to win it back and then win a throw off the sliding Canos, who, for a left wing back, found himself over on the right wing in making in that challenge. It's 1-1 between Brentford and Bournemouth on TalkSport. 2-1 on aggregate to Bournemouth. Brentford have a man advantage today after Mepham's dismissal. We've got 5 minutes to go to half-time.
Yeah, a little reorganisation from Bournemouth in that Philip Billing, who was playing as a number 10 really, in behind Dominic Solanke. Every time they lose the ball now, it goes out to the right-hand side, try and stop those runs of Canos. Danjuma to the left and Solanke up top on his own. 2 key players are going to be Lerma and Pearson. They're going nowhere. They're just going to sit in front of the back four for Bournemouth and try and fill holes when maybe the fullbacks go forward, but they're just going to sit in front of them and try and pick up the pieces.
Pearson stumbling. The ball maintained by Bournemouth, although Danjuma just for a moment I think was expecting Rico to go longer, and he only just reacted quickly enough to keep it in. Billing can bring it forward here, and Bournemouth able to work it forward towards Solanke. No advantage as Billing was blocked off, and it's a free kick to the Cherries about 15 yards outside the penalty area in the inside left channel.
Yeah, 1 or 2 complaints from Brentford, because actually I do agree with them. There was probably a foul from Lerma just in the build-up, and he didn't give it, and Bournemouth were able to then go on the counter. That was a free kick, absolutely, but I think that Lerma had made an initial foul.
Well, Bournemouth not in a position at the moment to create too much from open play, although the threat of the counter-attack is always there. So a set piece might be potentially their best avenue towards a second goal. Diego Rico stands over it, and they're not in shooting territory, this. The one man in the wall, if you can have a one-man wall, but you understand what I'm saying, is Jensen. Bournemouth have a line of 5 around the edge of the box. It's actually worked short out towards the left-hand side for Danjuma. Danjuma with an opportunity to try and take on Mburmo, who stumbles, but he can't get past him. Pull back towards Rico. Rico's left-footed ball, not hard enough. Headed away by Dalsgaard. Brentford will be able to push out, and then Jensen has lent into Diego Rico there, and they've got another free kick, a similar distance from goal, but this one over towards the left-hand touchline.
That was poor defending from Matthias Jensen. He had absolutely no intention to go for the ball whatsoever. He looked and tried to find the man, and he did find him. He bumped right into Diego Rico. Made a bit of a meal of it, but it's absolutely a foul.
So Lloyd Kelly makes his way forward, and Solanke stands, gloved hands on hips in the D. Billing is at the far post. Carter Vickers, not tall for a centre-half by any stretch of the imagination, but good in the air, is there. Lerma's there as well. Now Danjuma makes a run down the left-hand side of the penalty area. Rico swings it in, looking for Billing. Billing to try and nudge it back. Did that hit on its way through? Did it hit an arm? The referee says no, and it's a corner, not a penalty. Now the Brentford defender that time had his back to play, but I don't know that it's too different necessarily. It's Pinnock. No, you can't give a penalty for that. To be fair, it was nudged down, and it's just clipped right on the top of the arm from Billing, and Pinnock wasn't looking towards it. The contact made from such close range behind him, and the award of the corner rather than a penalty is definitely the right decision. But it will be a corner to Bournemouth, only their second of the game. Yeah,
I agree with you. It did hit the hand, and totally unintentional. And again, just from the yard, he didn't know anything about it. You can't give a penalty for that.
So the 10 men of Bournemouth with this second corner. High right-footed ball swung in. It's a really poor delivery. It's bounced once on the bottom left-hand corner of the box. Played back in again by Billing and deflected high up in the air. Then headed down towards Phil Billing again. And the Dane will try and take on Ruslev, who has stood his ground and blocked his compatriot. And it goes out of play for a Bournemouth throw down by that corner flag. And the final minute of the first half, which has raced by, but it's going to be elongated by possibly quite an appreciable amount of stoppage time for injuries, controversy, altercations, time wasting. Lots of minutes to be added. Could easily be 4. Ball played from the throw into the feet of Danjuma and then back past Diego Rico and out of play for a Brentford throw, which they'll take in their right back position. But hugely entertaining. 1-1 the score, and Bournemouth still hanging on to this fragile aggregate lead.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant game. A really, really brilliant first half of football. Actually, Bournemouth, the last 10 minutes have done quite a good job of taking the sting out of the game, just trying to quieten the crowd a little bit.
Marcondes working back inside his own half. It'll be played forward by Pinnock. Canos into the feet of Jensen. Now crossfield ball, Roslev finding space on the right. It's 6 additional minutes. High balling, good chesting down from Adam Smith, climbing over Mbeumo, but he won it cleanly, guides it back for his goalkeeper. But just to reiterate, 6 minutes of added time at the end of the first half.
That just goes to show how many incidents we've had in this first period. I don't know if they were claiming Brentford there for a handball, or whether it was that they were claiming for actually a foul, because he jumped over the top of Mbeumo, definitely chested it back to the goalkeeper. I don't think there's anything doing there either. It's a tough job here, the referee, in this one.
Not much. He's going to get tougher. Smith heads it forward, knocked away by Jensen brings it down and chips it into space for the run from Mbeumo. High left-footed, up and under from him, just sails straight behind Asmir Begovic's goal. Another opportunity just to take the sting out of it. And Begovic was 5,000 to 1 to catch that ball that was thrown back to him from the Brentford fans behind the goal, because there was absolutely no way that he was going to just spot it down immediately for a goal kick. As he has the right to do, goes from the right-hand side of the 6-yard box to the left to take the goal kick.
It wasn't even worth £1.
It wasn't, was it? Goal kick which will be taken by Bournemouth, and all the players push forward and congregate over towards this left-hand side. Begovic takes it. High right-footed ball, blue markings on the ball, spinning in the air as it goes over the halfway line. And it's brought down by Canos. Brentford winning a lot of second ball at the moment. And Canos will just try and guide it forward. He's been fouled by Lerma. Canos looking to take the free kick quickly. Marcondes waves him away. He finds Pinnock. Now Jensen, who's gravitating out towards the left-hand touchline at the moment, plays it back in for Marcondes. Marcondes to Dalsgaard, sets the sights from distance. Bournemouth will be more than happy all the time that they're firing him in from there, from the back line. He was about 30 yards out and he's put it 10 yards wide. 1-1.
That was a strange choice, really. 30 yards from goal. Ben Pearson was right in his face as well. It wasn't as if he had an open space for him to have a shot and try his luck from distance. It was for a Bournemouth point of view, absolutely perfect. Shoot from 30 yards, and it's 30 yards over the bar, and we'll take another minute out of the game. And he's still pointing at his watch, Thomas Frank.
Well, it is only a minimum of 6 minutes, and you can't say that time hasn't been added on for Bournemouth's match management up to this point. Janssen with the clearance up towards halfway. Lerma's in there. The second header comes down. Brentford win it, and then it's guided forward again by Jensen, away by Rico. Pinnock cushions the header out towards the far touchline for Brentford. And Canos, the one-time Liverpool man, has the ball at his feet, turns inside, the ball that he loves to play, angled towards Ivan Toney, who's found Diego Rico in the aerial challenge, and free kick which will be taken by Bournemouth on the edge of the D. If you're just joining us here on TalkSport, boy, if you missed a thriller. Danjuma on 6 minutes from almost implausible Bournemouth counter-attack as Brentford left everybody forward to attack their first corner of the game. Bournemouth picked them off. Danjuma on 6, 2-0 on aggregate. Then a handball by Lloyd Kelly. Ivan Toney put the penalty away, 1-1. Then Mepham was sent off for wrestling Mbeumo to the ground. And that's the state of play as we come towards the half-time whistle. Roslev has knocked it away. So 2-1 to Bournemouth on aggregate. Down to 10 men. I just wonder at what stage Brentford will decide they want to try and rotate the pack and try and get another attacking option on to put the squeeze on. It looked like handball by Marcondes, not given, and that looked blatant. Toney will bring the ball forward. Rico wins it back from him, and now the free kick is given Brentford's way, but the Bournemouth bench are absolutely furious with what they perceive as being inconsistency, and James Lillington, the fourth official, is getting it from both sides, but Marcondes clearly pushed a hand out there towards the ball and just pushed it on, and the officials contrived to miss it.
Honestly, I said how difficult a job it is to referee the game. I'm not sure what's worse. I think it might even be more difficult to be the fourth official, because the two benches are in his ear the whole game. Thomas Frank's pointing to his watch, and John and Woodgate there about the handball. I think I'd rather be in the middle, actually, rather than be on the bench.
Me too.
I'd definitely rather be playing.
Yeah, me too, and I haven't played for 35 years. There's a free kick which will be taken on the Brentford right by Mbeumo. Comes across in his blue boots. Opportunity for him to deliver a left-footed in-swing. Jensen's there as well, but Burma looks the favourite. Tony standing in what is a deliberately offside position. Ball punted in. They saw Begovic off his line, actually went for goal, but you can file it under optimistic. Begovic took 3 or 4 steps back and made a comfortable catch.
File it under waste. With very little time left in this half, it was a very strange decision.
Still in the 6 minutes of added time at the end of this first period. Flicked on by Mbermo. Time for Adam Smith to run round it and bring it under control. Guide it back to his goalkeeper. Begovic will be able to get it away. Then headed back by Pinnock again through the midfield. It bounces inside the centre circle, but Tony can't get on the end of it. Now Pontus Jansson heads clear. Shove on Tony maybe. Referee agrees, and it's a free kick which will be taken on the edge of the centre circle. Lerma stopping it, taken quickly, picks the ball up and will receive a yellow card for deliberately delaying the restart. Jefferson Lerma in the book for the 14th time this season.
Is that all? Please don't shoot from here. 2 yards inside the opposition half.
Yano is the man that stands over it. 6 minutes of stoppage time are now up, but could easily be extended by another 30 seconds or so. The referee, in fact, hasn't seen need to add any further time on at all. Well, it's been enthralling. 1-1, the half-time score. Danjuma giving Bournemouth the lead. Tony equalising from a controversial penalty 10 minutes later. No controversy about Mepham's dismissal for wrestling Mbermo to the ground when he was clean through. Bournemouth still with the aggregate advantage with 45 minutes left to play, but it'll be a long 45 minutes to play with a numerical disadvantage. It's Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1, 2 on the Bournemouth on aggregate. And Brentford are going to make a change at the beginning of the second half. We were discussing exactly what they might do. It looks as though it's going to be Force who will be coming on for Ruslev. So we kind of got it right, Matt. They are going to go to a back 4. They'll play Dalsgaard at right back. Ruslev, the right wing back, is the man that makes way. But Force is coming on up front. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how they line up Force, Tony and Mbermo. But Brentford's making the change. That's their first at this half-time interval.
Yeah, well, we're presuming they're going to a back 4. We're presuming that Dalsgaard will go to right back. At the moment, it looks like Canos still at left back. Don't know whether that will change or not. So it'll be interesting to see how they do set themselves up for this second half. But it was the change that we anticipated.
So Brentford red and white striped shirts, black shorts, and they're kicking from right to left towards the old Griffin Park Stadium, about a mile to the west of here. Bournemouth with a long 45 minutes ahead of them to defend with 10 men. Not the most sensational defensive record over the course of the campaign. And will they be able to hold out the pressure? Brentford able to bring the ball forward. Working over the halfway line. Dalsgaard clipping it in towards Tony, who's guided it down. Force, who struggled in the first leg a little bit, wasn't at his best, trying to get in there and make life difficult. They've got a man over Marcondes, left-hand side of the area. Checks back onto his right foot, crosses deflected. Tony misses his kick and shanks it out of play for a throw.
Came at him quickly. I'll tell you what, he missed a sitter in the first half, a header from about 5 yards out. That was a much more difficult chance. Just looking at it, it looks like they are still a back 3, you know, Brentford. Yeah. It looks like Mbuemo's at right wing back now, so a slightly more attacking right wing back option rather than Ruslev.
The ball is out of play for this Bournemouth throw. They still haven't taken it. This might be an enduring theme. Billing heads it on. Janssen is there. The Brentford captain steering it over the halfway line. Returned by Pearson, hair flopping in the wind. The ball back then by Canos towards the edge of the area. Force chasing after it. Carter Vickers dealing with it. Billing helps it further away. And the guy to play for a Brentford throw. It's 1-1. And
a slight alteration from Bournemouth as well. Solanke's gone into that left-hand side. I think slightly more diligent in terms of his defending. Someone who will get back into shape. And they're leaving Danjuma as a bit of a wild card up top.
Yeah, it is 4-4-1 now, as far as Bournemouth are concerned. Smith sliding in, deals with Canos, back to his feet, gets it away. Danjuma trying to hold it up, can't do so. And it'll come back again. We talked about the fact that in the first half possession was about 60-40 in Brentford's favour. I expect it to be substantially more than that, I would think, in this second half. Play that towards Mbermo now. His low skidding ball in towards the near post. It's cleared by Lloyd Kelly, back from Mbeumo, and then whacked away again by Lerma. Solanke trying to ride the challenge, and he's fouled, and he goes out of play for a free kick. So these are the sides. Brentford, Raya in goal, Dalsgaard, Janssen and Pinnock, the three centre-halves. And Mbeumo at right wing back, Canos on the left, Jensen, Janot, Marcondes in midfield, and Tony and Force up front. Bournemouth down to 10 men because Mepham was sent off. Begovic in goal, Smith, Carter-Vickers, Kelly and Diego Rico. And now playing with Billing, Pearson, Lerma, Solanke as the midfield four, and Danjuma is the man who's up front. Janssen heading the ball away. One back though by Diego Rico. Back for Begovic, out of his penalty area quickly. And leant back and made sure that he got the elevation on his clearance, which was headed back by Dalsgaard at the other end. Out of play, Jefferson Lerma watching it over the line. 3 gone in the second half. It's still 1-1. The 10 men still have this aggregate 2-1 advantage given to them by Danjuma in the first leg last week. You're with TalkSport. Matt Holland alongside me, Jim Proudfoot here at the Brentford Community Stadium. Magnificent arena. The first time that I've had the chance to come here, and it has been worth the wait, not just for the vicinity but also for the game as well. It has been magnificent. Bournemouth on the front foot, Solanke trying his luck and diving down to his right hand side. He just needed helping around the post by David Raya, and it's the first corner of the second half that goes Bournemouth's way. It's
been a decent start actually to the second half from Bournemouth. That first half finished at such a tempo, and Brentford on the front foot. Actually that 15 minutes of reorganisation has probably done John Woodgate a bit of a favour. Might have been going wide anyway. It was a good run from Solanke, and it was a decent effort, but it might have been going wide anyway.
Bournemouth have got 5 in the penalty area to attack it. Carter-Vickers inside the 6-yard box. Dalsgaard's got his arms around him. He's trying to get free. 4 making runs from deeper in towards the back post, and Reyes caught it. There was no pressure on him from any of the Bournemouth players. Looked as though the corner might just have caught a swirling breeze which took it in towards Raya from its intended vicinity. And Pinnock will find Emiliano Marcondes right in front of us. We're situated about 6 or 7 yards inside the half that Brentford are defending. And Brentford have worked it from the left to right, and Dalsgaard will play it forward. Force has made a good run round the back of Kelly, who did well, stretched out a long left leg to bring it under control. Jensen working it back in. Force couldn't get the flick on that he wanted. Lerma was in there. Oh, it's it! It's Yellow from the edge of the penalty area. It just broke his way on the edge of the box. The most unlikely of goal scorers for Brentford. Took an inflection on its way, and I think he's spun past Begovic into the top left-hand corner. Brentford are back on level terms on aggregate, and they've now got 40 minutes against the 10 men to get the job done before extra time.
Well, it's some hit. It really is. I'll tell you what, it was a wonderful ball over the top, and Lloyd Kelly did superbly well initially. He won the first ball. It was a big tackle as well, but it broke kindly for Brentford. They put an early ball into the box. It's cleared to the edge of the box. I mean, it's a really strange goal. It looked like he fell as he hit it. I mean, I'll see it again, hopefully, from the replay. I mean, it's ended up looping over the top of Asmir Begovic, who had absolutely no chance. It's almost like it was a tackle from Lerma at the same time as he approached the ball. And it got a slight deflection, which meant it looped up and past Asmir Begovic. Absolutely perfect start to the second half for Brentford. Just what Thomas Frank wanted.
2-2 on aggregate. 2-1 Brentford lead today against the 10 men of Bournemouth. Exactly the same situation as it was when the two sides met here in the league earlier this season. And Bournemouth scored first that day and lost by 2-1. Here's Jensen. Jensen to his left, Canos chipping it inside the penalty area. Tony's offside, and it's a free kick which will be taken by Bournemouth. The ball whacked away there from the edge of the penalty area by Canos once the whistle had gone, and he hit it so high he almost knocked it out of the stadium away to the left-hand side onto the running track. I'm just getting another view of the goal on the big screen. It's bizarre.
I've just seen it now. Jefferson Lerma actually got there first, and he got a very slight touch. It's almost like a tackle at the same time as he's sort of aiming towards goal. And so the little touch from Lerma has taken it into the tackle of Janelt, and it's looped and gone past Asmir Begovic, who had absolutely no chance. It's right into the corner. It is a bizarre goal, but what a big goal it is in this game.
Well, Brentford have only won one of their last 14 playoff matches in normal time. It was a victory at home to Swansea in the second leg of the semi-finals last season, the final game at Griffin Park. 3-1 they won that one, 2-1 they lead this one. Came into this game clearly knowing that they had to win in 90 minutes if they were going to keep their promotion hopes alive. Haven't played top-flight football since 1947. Is this going to be the year? Ball is headed inside the penalty area by Canos, but he lost his battle to keep it in. His header just going into the hands of Begovic, having crossed the dead ball line. So what do Bournemouth do now? Do they sit back, try and contain? It's a long time to go from here to penalties. A long, long time. 68 minutes.
Yeah. I was about to say 70 minutes. They've got to try and see that out. So at some point they're going to have to try and I don't know, get bodies forward, try and create a chance for themselves. It hasn't looked likely actually since they went down to 10 men. It was Solanke in the first half that was playing up top, and he was isolated.
And it could be in again here, right inside of the penalty area. Carter Vickers with the chance, sliding chance. Another tackle comes in, steered into the side, heading by Mbermo. The referee's whistle has gone for a free kick to Bournemouth amidst the mayhem and maelstrom of that penalty area.
And if we thought that the second half might not provide as much entertainment, we were wrong. Wow, unbelievable. What a start it is to the second half. I thought it was a penalty initially. And Puemo again taking advantage of a bit of indecision in that Bournemouth back line. Actually seeing it again, I think it's Carter Vickers who got back and actually made a really important challenge. Leaning across and Puemo, I don't think there's anything in that. Begovic did well as well, coming off his line, challenging Tony. What a start to the second half.
Well, free kick has been given against Force, and the Bournemouth player that was hurt is back on his feet. Hasn't got any easier for Jared Gillett at the beginning of the second half. The referee still having to be right on top of his game. 9 gone on TalkSport. Playoff semi-final, second leg for the right to meet either Swansea or Barnsley at Wembley next Saturday afternoon here on TalkSport. Whitsun Bank Holiday weekend, we have all 3 playoff finals for you. Blackpool against either Sunderland or Lincoln. We'll find out later today whether it will be Sunderland or Lincoln, because that game is coming your way on TalkSport 2 this afternoon. Ball is just knocked down towards Phil Billing, and it goes out of play for a throw that will be taken by Ethan Pinnock. Pinnock trying to get away from the challenge of Phil Billing as he makes his way up the left-hand touchline. Yellow with a clever little flick back inside the space for Marcondes, running towards the edge of the area. Right-footed ball in, coming around the back was Mbermo. Tony just broke his run for a moment, and Mbermo couldn't get there in time at the far post, but that seems to be the avenue that might give Brentford joy. Those curving balls in for runners beyond centre-halves.
It was always drifting away actually from Ivan Toney, but his movements impressed me today. He's always on the shoulder, but he always tries to hide behind the centre-half so that the centre-half can't see him. He just drifts onto the back of them. And again, he got him behind, but the ball was always just drifting away from him.
Begovic just stumbling and slipping as he took the goal kick, but he was still able to get the distance that he wanted. It goes out for a throw that will be taken over on the Bournemouth left-hand side. 10 gone second half. Brentford 2, Bournemouth 1. Think back to my own supporting days in the playoffs. Is a very, very similar tie to one that I went to going back into the 1990s now, when Torquay won the first leg 2-0 against Preston with 3-1 down at half-time in the second leg. Darren Moore had been sent off, and away goals counted back in those days. So Torquay were going through if they could get to the end of extra time with the numerical disadvantage. And hanging on with 10 men, and got through to the 117th minute before David Moyes, of all people, broke our hearts. But it just feels like that. It's just the containment, trying to soak up the pressure. And Bournemouth fans listening at home, I've got first-hand experience knowing what you're going through with the biting of the nails. Mistake slightly smaller, I suppose, for us as it is for you.
Jim, I've played in them. I've lost 2 semi-finals before eventually getting to Wembley and getting promoted.
Billing has just stumbled into Marcondes off the ball there. Play goes on. It must be extraordinary to play. They're extraordinary to watch as supporters, these playoffs. And this one certainly has lived up to a rich history and back catalogue of magnificent games at the end of the regulation season. Here's Jefferson Lerma trying to make his way forward. Looks as though he's got a ground. Knew wasn't going to get too much further. He's back on his feet here, though. Lerma trying to flick it in towards Billing, and then Brentford come back and stees it back for Jensen on the edge of the D, and Canos similarly calms things down, finding his goalkeeper, who controls the ball with his right foot, just leaves the studs on the top of the ball, put the hands out to his teammates, saying, calm things down. 2-2. The aggregate scoreline, 2-1 Brentford lead against Bournemouth on the day. Bournemouth down to 10 men. Pinnock playing it forward here for Canos.
It's one of the few occasions Bournemouth have been able to get Philip Billing, Dan Juma and Solanke within about sort of 10-15 yards of each other, because they've been so isolated. They do so much work, Billing and Solanke, now defensively, having to get back and help their fullbacks.
And here's another example of that. Solanke coming back. He sprinted to get back into a left half position. He was just caught by Jensen. And he's okay, he's back on his feet, just walking away a little bit gingerly, but it'll be a free kick which Bournemouth will take. 13 gone second half. No real sign of animation on the Bournemouth bench in terms of bringing fresh legs on at any stage. Brentford have got a couple warming out the way to our left-hand side. Godos is there, and he may well be somebody that you can imagine coming on into a wider position up front.
Yeah, 3 or 4 minutes ago, actually, Thomas Frank turned to his bench and sent both of those two players to warm up, so he must be thinking about making an imminent change.
Tony trying to hold it up. He's supposed to come back into side his own half to do so. Marcondes sprays it wide. Phil Billing is in there battling and winning a throw from Canos on this near touchline. Thomas Frank, why make a point once when you can make it 100 times? It stands again every time the ball's gone out of play. And pointing his watch. I think what he's trying to do is get the crowd to get on the back of the players when the time wasting is going on. Here's Mbermo. Mbermo slipping it forward. Sliding challenge coming in to try and dispossess Jensen, but Pearson couldn't win it back. Headed down towards the left-hand side for Canos. 4 targets in the penalty area if he can swing it in. Right-footed ball delivered deep. It's headed away well by Rico. Out for Dalsgaard, who fires it over the bar.
Well, he's had 2 efforts, hasn't he, Dalsgaard, from about 30 yards. Neither of them very good.
Getting a little bit closer, maybe. All you can say about it. Brentford had a wonderful run during the season. They went 21 unbeaten between October and February. Then they lost 4 of the next 6. Finished the season unbeaten in 12 before losing the first leg of this. And since they went back to a back 3, their record has been very impressive. Only conceded 3 goals in 8 games before today with a back 3. It's 4 in, 8.5 and a bit now. 8 2/3.
Rico Henry's been a big miss for him, hasn't he? I know he's out injured again, and he's been out for a while. Missed him on that left-hand side.
Yeah, tremendous player, the former Walsall man, and certainly a player that wouldn't look out of place playing for a top-half Premier League team. Here's Carter Vickers. Back from him to Ben Pearson, the January signing from Preston. Pearson just nudges it to his right-hand side for Smith. Bournemouth in their change kit today, mint green shirts with dark blue shorts. Brentford in their traditional red and white stripes with the black shorts. And in possession now, Jensen pinging it long. Too long for Mbermo, maybe. He kept it in with his first touch and his second, but nudged it back. And he's won a free kick there. No, he hasn't. He ended up on the deck. No foul, though, by Rico. And Billing will try and nudge it forward here. And here's Dan Juma. He might have the opportunity to run at Pontus Jansson. Dan Juma towards the edge of the penalty area. Checks back inside. Round the first challenge. Trying to get round the second. Rolls it square. Solanke tried to cushion it and let it run. Couldn't do so. And there was no foul on him by the retreating Pinnock. And Brentford are going to be able to bring it away. Better from Bournemouth in a very isolated, sporadic attack.
First sign of real danger, actually, for Brentford. Incredible. Again, they're throwing bodies forward. They're pushing and pushing, trying to find a winner. And Danjuma found himself 1v1 against Pontus Jansson.
Canos has it. Right-footed ball in from him. Tony's wrestled his man to the ground. Nothing doing. It was Kelly, and it's a free kick, actually, for an offside rather than a goal kick. Brentford are going to make a change in a moment. It is Brentford 2, Bournemouth 1 on TalkSport. The day that Bournemouth took A 1-0 lead on the day and a 2-0 aggregate lead early on through Danjuma. Tony equalised from the penalty spot after a Kelly handball. Mepham then set off wrestling and Burmo to the ground, and then Janelt 5 minutes into the second half with a block challenge which ended up in the net as Lerma and he both attacked the same ball together, and it ricocheted off the Brentford man and into the top left-hand corner. So 2-1, Brentford leading 2-2 on aggregate, heading for extra time and penalties potentially, but still a feel that Bournemouth are hanging on a bit in this second half. Brentford have had 5 shots, only 2 on target though. I suppose only 2 on target in 17 minutes probably represents and constitutes quite a good return as far as Bournemouth are concerned defensively, but a lot of work to do for them, and Brentford will continue to ask the questions. And Godos, the Iranian international, is going to be coming on at the next break in play. Goes out of play for a Bournemouth throw. Will they make the change now? And he's still receiving his final instructions from Thomas Frank, who stands with his right arm almost protectively and paternally just cradled round the shoulder of Godos, just explaining a few things that he's seen and potential ways that he believes Godos can affect the game. He's going through some of the finer points. And Diego Rico, even in a Cauldron-like atmosphere from here, you could hear the yelp of pain from the far side of the pitch as he went down there. Jensen was the guilty party. This is the game, just leaning into him. Sorry,
I was going to say, this is the gamesmanship that we talked about. Bournemouth, yes, it's a foul, not an awful lot in it. It certainly didn't hurt Diego Rico, but again, just gingerly now getting back to his feet. It's taken another 30 seconds. It's just eking out as much time they can.
So the change will be made, and Janelt leaves the field as the match winner on the day, and he's going to be replaced by Saman Godos, who played under Graham Potter at Östersunds and was in the Swedish team that won at Arsenal. Was a Swedish international at the beginning of his career, but switched nationality to play for Iran, and he has come on. So Janelt, the defensive-minded midfield player, the man that they've taken off, which is a move that makes a great degree of sense. Ball cleared by Begovic for Bournemouth. 20 minutes into the second half. Brentford 2, Bournemouth 1 on TalkSport. Battling for it, Solanke. Can't find a way past Jansen. Out of play for a goal kick, which David Rea will take.
Thomas Frank still sticking with that back three, though, which is a bit of a surprise. I thought he might have gone to a 4, although we did see 5 minutes ago how when Bournemouth counter-attacked, they did find themselves 1v1 with Pontus Jansson.
Yeah, trying to do everything they can to get Canos forward down this left-hand side, and Dalsgaard will play a slightly more defensive-minded role over on the right-hand touchline. The throw taken short to him now. And a well-disguised ball back out towards the right. Godos getting inside the box. Lloyd Kelly's there to knock it away. Janssen coming down to the halfway line, turns his right foot underneath it. Carter Vickers letting it bounce. He's hoping his goalkeeper would come out and claim it in the end. Carter Vickers had to judge the bounce and just nod it up in the air for Begovic to come out and claim. Gets it forward quickly. Billing is up for it. And then a challenge from Pearson has left Canos down her. Referee allows play to go on.
Did quite well there, Carter Vickers, didn't he? Because it's quite windy and it just held up.
And Burmo. Left-footed ball swung in very deep. Marcondes, well marshalled by Smith from a very tight angle, could only turn it into the side netting and out of play.
If Thomas Frank's got one complaint, I think it's in that final third. The quality of delivery hasn't quite been good enough. Too often they've got into wide positions, crossing positions, and overhit the ball into the box. Something that they can improve on in this second half.
Side finishing in third in the Championship have reached 8 of the last 10 finals, including last season.
That was Brentford.
It was Brentford, seeing off Swansea, hoping to make it 9 out of 11. They've never won promotion via the playoffs in 9 attempts, through to the finals 4 times and lost them all. Now they'd love to make it 5th time lucky. Again, the crack are making it 5th time lucky against either Swansea or Barnsley. The second leg of that one is coming your way 6:30 tonight here on TalkSport. Ball played down the left-hand side of the penalty area for Brentford, and another good, well-timed sliding challenge from Adam Smith, and an angry reaction from Canos. The ball's there to be won by Smith, and Canos took exception to the way that he'd wired into the challenge. Goes out of play for a throw, which will be taken on the Brentford left by Pinnock.
Good tackle, actually, from Adam Smith. You know, it was a really strong challenge, but he won the ball, and he was probably favourite to get there. But I'll tell you what, Philip Billing in the middle of the pitch trying to do a Cruyff turn and just caught in possession of the ball. That's something that John Woodgate won't be too pleased about.
Yeah, time and a place and a day for it. And this was none of them. Pinnock preparing to take this throw. Referee is just going to have to go across before it's launched inside the area to deal with a skirmish that is happening. He's only overzealous jockeying for position on the corner of the 6-yard box, where Brentford are getting bodies forward into the faces of their Bournemouth counterparts. Janssen is in there, trying to make life difficult for everybody. Dalsgaard and Tony there as well. Begovic ends up on the deck. Plenty of bodies between us and here. I couldn't quite see what put him there, whether it was just a stumble and a slip. To a certain extent, he's got to be careful, Begovic, because he picked up a yellow card in that altercation earlier in the game with Tony, and he can't afford clearly to get a yellow card for time wasting or for what the referee construes to be ungentlemanly conduct.
Jimmy, it was his own man that stood on his foot. It was Lloyd Kelly that stood on his toes.
Pinnock takes this throw, finds Canos. Back for Pinnock again. High left foot ball swung in just too high from Burmo, attacking it with Rico, and it beats them both and goes out of play for a Bournemouth throw.
Yeah, another cross into the box, over hit. Quality in that final third hasn't quite been good enough, really, from Brentford. They've been in some great positions. Obviously, they're dominating possession because they've got the extra man. They're getting themselves in some great areas. Again, it's just another cross over hit.
Bournemouth to take a throw. Over on the far side, in their left-back position, they're kicking from left to right. Launched forward towards halfway, still the Cherries struggling to get out of their own half. And Dalsgaard climbing over Danjuma, whose presence up front certainly gives Bournemouth the best chance of being able to utilise his speed on the counter-attack. Jensen takes it back into Bournemouth territory. And Canos slightly misdirects the ball. He was looking for Pinnock. He missed him, but goes straight through to his goalkeeper, and he will play it out for Pontus Jansson, who finds Dalsgaard, and Brentford will bring it forward again. They've got 21 minutes to win this in the regulation time. 2-1 up, 2-2 on aggregate against the 10 men of Bournemouth. Dalsgaard, clever ball down the right-hand side of the penalty area, and Burmo's ball in. It's spotted over the bar by Ivan Toney. Exactly the man you want that to fall to. Central position, 12 yards out, but he skied it.
Yeah, miscommunication actually between Rico and Dominic Solanke defensively. And Buemo's actually got himself in between those two on a number of occasions now. This time he does find the cross. This time he picks out that main man, Toney, about 10 yards out. A difficult skill on the volley, sees it quite late, gets too much of it. But that's a bit better in terms of delivery into the box. They've got to organise that Bournemouth defensively on that left-hand side between Rico and Solanke, just trying to stop those runs of Mbeumo.
Brentford leading by 2 goals to 1. Those are thoughts of the World Cup man Matt Holland. Here's Mbeumo inside the penalty area again. Tony is waiting. The cross takes a deflection. Brentford have a corner. They've struggled actually to win too many of them. And this, I think I'm right in saying, is their first of the second half. Ivan Toney pushing out towards the right-hand side of the penalty area, just retrieves the original match ball. Burmo has taken another one, supplementary one from down behind that corner flag, which had just been on a little white plinth. Pinnock stands on the edge of the penalty area. Marcondes is there, Janssen there, Dalsgaard as well. Tony in a deeper position, Canos inside the 6-yard box, left-footed ball into a real crowd scene, heads go up for it, everybody misses it. Bournemouth will be able to bring it away with Carter Vickers, taking it to the right-hand side of his penalty area and launching it long. Danjuma letting it bounce, Jensen turned, got it back to his goalkeeper, and Reyes touch, and then his second, and then his third, all assured as Danjuma kept him honest and tried to dispossess him. Rico then calms things down at the back for Bournemouth from the long ball forward. Pearson to Carter Vickers to Smith, and Bournemouth with an opportunity just to try and make progress, and again they look for the long ball over the top for Danjuma. Knocked away though by Pontus Jansson, finding Marcondes, and Pimmick has it now.
Noticeable again, actually, that when that corner was taken, Brentford have thrown everybody forward again. Danjuma's gone out for the short one in case they play a short one, but as soon as it goes over his head, he's off. He's on his bike, and Bournemouth have recognised that, seen that as a way of potentially getting another goal in this game. I think as soon as they picked the ball up, it was hit it long and try and find Danjuma.
That was how the first goal was scored, even that very early stage of the game, first 5.5 minutes. Brentford pushing absolutely every outfield player forward for a corner. Bournemouth won it. Carter Vickers played it through for Danjuma, and he did the rest from 60-yard run. Here's Tony heading it wide, down towards the corner flag again. Just hasn't had the accuracy in his attempts today for a man who's in good form and has scored so many goals over the course of the campaign. 32 now in all competitions, but just unable to hit the target from very presentable chances, better than half chances.
What I would say though, Jim, is he's getting chances. You know, some strikers wouldn't get themselves into those positions, and he's found himself in that 6-yard box, 8-10 yards out, and the ball finds him, doesn't it? I think that's the sign of a good striker. Yes, he hasn't taken his chances yet.
Canos riding the challenges, got past two of them, found Marcondes towards the edge of the penalty area, slips it to his left-hand side. Jensen with an opportunity to deliver straight into Phil Billing. Loose ball breaks Brentford's way. Dalsgaard's had a couple of siders from distance, clips it in this time around the far post. Smith heads it away. Canos will pick it up again for Brentford, just outside the penalty area. 2-2 on aggregate, slipped in deep, and Bamo into a congested 6-yard box, but Bournemouth got the first contact to dig it away and whack it upfield, hoping that Danjuma can make something happen on the counter, but Janssen was there first to find his keeper.
Well, I think it was Lloyd Kelly again, just in front of Ivan Toney, who was diving into that, headed back from Mbeumo. Wonderful defending from Bournemouth.
Misplaced pass from Jensen, sails out of play and goes out for a Bournemouth throw. Because it's a Bournemouth throw, I think I've probably got time to tell you what's coming up tomorrow on TalkSport. Morecambe against Tranmere and Forest Green Newport are the playoff semi-final second legs in League 2. 12:30 and 6:30 respectively on TalkSport 2. And then our 5 live Premier League games, headlined by Leicester Tottenham, all kick off at 4 o'clock. That's on TalkSport. On TalkSport 2 is West Ham Southampton. The Hammers leading a point for a top 6 finish. And on the TalkSport app, Arsenal Brighton, Leeds West Brom, and Sheffield United Burnley. All the goals as they go in from the final day of the Premier League season. Adrian presenting from Anfield. We got it all covered for you. And I almost did get all of that in before the fray. Jack Stacey is going to be coming on very shortly for Bournemouth, who trail by 2-1 on the day. They're a man light as well after the red card to Mepham. And Stacey will come on here, and he's going to replace Solanke. So it's a defensive-minded change, and it'll be a very similar role that he fulfills, you would imagine, unless they go to 5 at the back. When he came on the other day, he came on in quite a defensive role later on in the game in a wide position. Stacey with the opportunity to come on now, probably a little bit more defensive wherewithal than Solanke, the man that he replaces. Yeah,
he's just had a quick chat with Philip Bean, so I don't know if that'll mean that he changes his position at all, but no, it's quite clear they're taking an attacker off for a more defensive-minded player. You can understand that with 15 minutes left of the 90.
Ball flicked on in towards the edge of the penalty area. Going up for it is Billing. Knocked away though by Godos, away from him. Down towards Jensen. Jensen to the left-hand side for Canos. Canos on the edge of the penalty area. Corner of the box. Finding Jensen. Jensen thinking about a shot, maybe doesn't. Bournemouth have a player go down inside the penalty area, and the referee saw it, and it's a foul by Ivan Toney, and a free kick which will be taken inside their own penalty area by Bournemouth. And they almost have the option when they're out of possession now to go with a back 5 and just play Diego Rico narrow in with his centre halves and play Stacey as a left back in a 5 and almost go 5-2-1.
Yeah,
5-2, 5-3-1 a big one.
I mean, it still looks like a 4 at the moment. It could change as the game goes on. Just having a little quick look at the incident between Tony. There's not a lot in it, but he does need to be careful. He has been booked, Ivan Toney. He can't get himself embroiled in stuff like that.
Yeah, the last thing that Brentford need to do in this situation is surrender their numerical advantage. Dalsgaard just got caught there by Stacey, who's got previous playoff experience back in his Exeter days when he scored the aggregate winner in a semi-final. Brentford bring it forward. Saki's just made his way from the far touchline round to the near, having been taken off, and a little low fight between him and his manager, who keeps his eyes focused firmly on the play. Dalsgaard swinging this cross in. Lloyd Kelly, who's been excellent, heads it away. Played well the other night as well. 2 very good games, Lloyd Kelly, who's on the radar of several Premier League clubs. Interesting to see where he's playing next season. Dalsgaard, high ball in, too high for Tony. Bounces a couple of times through towards Canos, left-hand side of the penalty area. Canos pulling it back. Here's Jensen. Jensen 5 yards outside the box, rolling it across the edge of the penalty area for Dalsgaard. Dalsgaard trying to take it on. Sets it up for Emi Marcondes. Right-footed shot, beaten away by the diving Begovic. And out of play for a corner.
Comfortable save for Asmir Begovic. One you'd expect him to make. 25 yards out, curling effort. He sees it all the way, and he palms it to safety. Bournemouth have done quite a good job of keeping Brentford at arm's length. They've not had too many attempts on the Bournemouth goal. Marcus Forss hasn't done anything since coming on. He's not impacted the game in any way, shape or form. That'll frustrate Thomas Frank.
And Brentford will make another change in a moment. But this corner will be taken first. Left-footed in-swinging delivery from Burmo. Oh, it's a good claim from Begovic under pressure. He's just given a little nudge to the ground by Janssen, who then put an arm out to stop him taking the goal kick quickly, or to throwing it out quickly to negate any threat of a counter-attack, and as a result Janssen gets a yellow card.
Yeah, actually it was a good yellow card to take, because he was away again, Dan Schumer. You can see Begovic, he picks the ball up and he's thinking about taking his time initially, because he's thinking that's what we've been doing the whole game, but then he realised, it's a corner. Brentford have pushed everybody forward. Dan Schumer's on the run. I've got to try and get my kick away and try and find him, and Pontus Janssen takes one for the team, picks up the yellow card for his troubles.
So Canos comes off for Brentford, and he's going to be replaced by Tariq Fosu. Fosu, who scored the winner at home to Bournemouth in the league, the Ghanaian international, who's played in the playoffs in the League One for Charlton, for League Two for Accrington, and this one now for Brentford. Very experienced in this end of season circus that enthralls and delights in equal measure. 11 minutes of normal time to go, still level on aggregate, as it has been now for half an hour. Ball headed on, away by Kelly, then by Carter-Vickers, turned forward towards the halfway line, one in the midfield area and played down towards Fosu, and his first touch is to get the better of Billing and guard it back for his goalkeeper.
Well, Thomas Frank will be hoping he can have an impact, because you're looking at his 2 subs. I just mentioned Marcus Forss, and Godos hasn't done an awful lot either in the middle of the pitch. He'll be hoping that his 3rd sub actually does something.
Still a crowd doing their bit to get behind the Bees. Fosu has it on the left-hand side. Played forward towards by Pinnock, I beg your pardon, and now Marcondes. And Juma just stopping Jensen, getting a run towards the ball. Play goes on though. Dalsgaard whipping it in. Adam Smith had 2 to deal with, but got between the pair of them, and then it's eased back over the top by Marcondes. Begovic gets there, catches it, whacks it out very quickly, trying to get Dan Juma goal side of Pinnock, but can't. Billing wins the second ball. Janssen is in there. Jensen just got caught on the top of the foot as he flicked it down towards Fosu, and Marcondes is able to bring it forward for Brentford. On the front foot, as they've been ever since Chris Mepham got sent off. Dalsgaard chipped inside the box again. Heads go up for it. Smith wins it. Marcondes driving it back in, and it's fired into the roof of the net by Forss. Well, he's hardly had a kick since he's come on, but he might just have sent Brentford to Wembley. Low ball whipped in, and the numerical advantage finally counted Brentford's way, and he slid and diverted it into the roof of the net. It's Brentford 3, 10-man Bournemouth 1, and they've got 9 minutes to hold on against the 10 men to reach Wembley.
Well, I'm claiming an assist. I've just said he's done absolutely nothing since he came on at the break, and there he is, scoring what we think may well be the winner. Bournemouth have done a brilliant job of keeping Brentford at arm's length. They've let them get to within 30, 40 yards of their goal and just said, yeah, throw balls into the box, we'll deal with that. They don't deal with this one. The ball's drilled across that 6-yard box and he's the quickest to react. He gets across Carter Vickers at the near post, toe pokes it past Asmir Begovic. That could well prove to be the deciding goal. It's been some turnaround. Bournemouth 2 goals up on aggregate, now find themselves 3-2 down. Jonathan Woodgate's turning to his bench, trying to find someone who might come on and rescue this situation. But Brentford look as though they're going to Wembley as it stands.
A striker that had only scored twice in his last 32 games. And he's got a sense of timing. Marcus Force 3-1 to Brentford, and Bournemouth are going to make a change. Adam Smith off, and Shane Long is coming on. Man who got a couple of goals in the semi-finals of the playoffs 10 years ago for Reading, and he comes on for Smith. 3-1 to Brentford, and it's 3-2 on aggregate. So the change has seen Stacey come across to right back for Bournemouth, and Shane Long playing up top now alongside Dan Juma. What Bournemouth have got to try and do is get the service forward towards the front two, just to try and create a couple of opportunities to take it to extra time. But at the moment, it's Brentford who will feel as though they're nearly there.
They've got to gamble now, Bournemouth. They've got to throw bodies forward. You see Jefferson Lerma trying to urge his team on and say we've got to get closer to the front two if we can. They're going to have to push the full-backs on. They're going to have to ask the midfield players to try and get forward and join the front men.
Given away by Rico, play forward through the midfield by Brentford. Jensen out towards Mbermo, who's got Tony in the middle. He's got Force making his way forward as well. It's Mbermo, gets towards the byline, stiffed up towards the far post. Tony chesting it down, took him away from play. Marcondes going wide, blocked by Kelly, comes back outside the penalty area. Stacey misses his kick. Well played, Marcondes. Out towards Fosu, left-footed ball in from Hill. Oh, Begovic was just stood looking, came right across the face of his goal and went wide. What a ball that was, but nobody could get close enough to it.
Well, in actual fact, it wasn't the best cross, but it almost deceived the goalkeeper. It almost just floated into that far corner. It was over the top of Begovic. He wasn't sure where it was going. It was driven in with some pace, and he was backpedaling. I'll tell you, that could easily have just dipped in underneath the crossbar. And it's the danger. Bournemouth are going to throw bodies forward. They're going to leave space at the back. They could concede another, but they have to go for it.
Simply have to gamble. They've got 6.5 minutes to keep their hopes alive of an immediate return to the Premier League. Pontus Jansson finding Pinnock. It's just all about possession now for Brentford. Fosu, who's been very lively since coming on, and that's a nice ball down towards the edge of the penalty area. Godos couldn't quite get there. Fosu beaten to the seconds by Stacey. The sliding challenge comes in on Pearson, who stays down. Lerma works it wide out of the far for Danjuma. Bournemouth would much rather have had a free kick than the advantage be played there. And it's gone out of play for a throw, which will be taken by Brentford over on the far touchline. 15 yards inside their own half. Brentford 3, Bournemouth 1. Bournemouth with a 2-goal aggregate lead 15 minutes into this. Now find themselves 3-2 down on aggregate after Tony's penalty and goals in this second half from Janelt and Force.
We should say, I mean, look, the game has perhaps changed on the sending off as well. Chris Mepham, against his old club, made a mistake, dwelt on the ball, took too long, brought his man down, saw red, and since then it's been one-way traffic.
Free kick is chipped forward by Brentford. Then Burmo trying to roll his man, Kelly. Stop that happening. Bournemouth get it away. Jensen showing for the ball in the midfield. The Bees instead work it back towards Pinnock. Centre half's getting more involved now, as the goalkeeper is as well. Just trying to stretch the length of the pitch, get Bournemouth to do some chasing. It's all about keeping the ball and calmly hasn't necessarily been a word in the Brentford lexicon today, but calmly getting the job done towards full time. 5 minutes of normal time to go. It's not going to be as much time added on at the end of this second half as there was at the end of the first, when we had 6 minutes. I would imagine that Brentford are 9 minutes or so with a playing time away from Wembley.
I'll say as it stands, I can't see Thomas Frank pointing at his watch anymore anyway.
No. Although possibly for integrity he should. But no, I think maybe the battery will have gone on it. Maybe he will feel that there's no need to anymore. Here's Janssen playing it forward. Here's Mbermo now. And Mbermo chipping it, hoisting it down towards Fosu. Nice control from the former Oxford man. Drops his shoulder, gets it back onto his right foot. Played across the edge of the penalty area. Marcondes urged to shoot by an element of the Brentford support, but thought better of it. Works it back instead for Jensen. Jensen now to Fosu. Fosu turning Stacey and clipping another inviting ball, swinging in towards the far post, but too deep for Tony, and out of play for a goal kick, which will be taken by Asmir Begovic. And Bournemouth have 3.5 minutes plus stoppage time to find the goal they need.
Well, he is one that's made a difference off the bench, Tariq Fosu. Couple of dangerous balls into the box since he came on. He's been very lively.
Carter Vickers rolls it forward. Stacey turning away from force. Back it goes for Pearson. Matthew Benham's just been shown on the big screen here, and his inestimable contribution to the club is being rewarded in song. Here's Shane Long though for Bournemouth, left hand side of the penalty area, chipped in. Danjuma coming around the back, but it was too much on it and couldn't get his head to it. Bournemouth's best opportunity in this second half by some distance to try and be able to David Raya.
Oh, it was excellent from Shane Long. Shrugged off the first man, came back in on his right hand side and just drifted across to the far post, a bit like Brentford at the element. I said that the crossing, the balls into the box, too much on them. Unfortunately for Shane Long and Bournemouth, he had too much on that one. Danjuma at the far post trying to find his way into the box, couldn't quite get on the end of it. I wonder if they're going to be able to create another chance in the 2 minutes plus stoppage time that remain.
David Raya not in any hurry to take the goal kick. And two centre halves offering themselves for the short ones, and in the end David Raya just waved them upfield, said no, it's alright, I'll take it, I'll punt it forward long. And we're in the 89th minute by the time he does take it. Worked it forward, Stacey heads it away, goes out of play for a throw that's going to be taken on the Brentford left hand side by Pinnock. Pinnock ambles over in his white boots, drying the ball on his, firstly on his hands and then on his red and white striped shirt, and now hurls it down the line. A little bit of shirt pulling going on between Tony and Carter Vickers. The ball has gone out of play for another throw, which will be taken on the Brentford left.
He might not have had his best game, Ivan Tony, but I tell you what, the two centre halves know they've been in the game, don't they? He puts himself about. It's been a good battle, ongoing battle between him and Lloyd Kelly and Carter Vickers.
Brentford's final change of the 90 minutes is going to be made in a moment. Mads Bidstrup will come on. Ball knocked away by Janssen, and straight out of play for another throw, and Bidstrup will replace Mbermo here. So Mbermo off and Bidstrup on. Only made his debut last month. Player signed from RB Leipzig, a Danish midfielder. And Mbermo's contribution over the course of this season applauded by those other Brentford persuasion around us.
Yeah, I mean, it's just game management now, isn't it? It's Brentford's turn to try and take this thing out of the game, take minutes out of the game, take time. And that's exactly what they've done.
Some atmosphere for Bidstrup to come off for what is only the 5th senior appearance of his career. He's not going to have too long to make an impact. He's got the ball now, wearing 41, controlling on his right thigh, knocks it forward. Bournemouth win it back. Rico working it wide out to the left-hand touchline, where Bournemouth will try and get the bodies forward. James Lillington, the fourth official, has the numbers board in his hand as the Cherries make it forward and win a free kick. And we go into 4 minutes of stoppage time. Danjuma, the player that was caught. It's a yellow card for Dalsgaard and an angry reaction from Billing. Those two players know each other very well from international football, and this might be Bournemouth's best moment, best opportunity to try and salvage the aggregate equaliser. It's a free kick over by the left-hand touchline, and Asmir Begovic makes his way forward.
I called it at half-time. He has already scored, hasn't he, Asmir Begovic, in his career? Can he find a second? There's a stupid challenge from Dalsgaard. Danjuma's way out wide, going nowhere. Stay on your feet. Why on earth did he make that challenge?
Brentford have two in the wall. It could be now or never. as far as Bournemouth are concerned. So Begovic forward on the edge of the penalty area. Bournemouth have got just about everybody apart from Pearson inside the box. They've got the option for a short one if they want, but it's going to be flagged in, right-footed with real pace. The heads go up for it off the top of Tony's head and onto the roof of the net and out of play for a corner, and then Begovic and Tony get involved again with pushing and shoving going on inside that 6-yard box. They've got to calm down or both will be sent off. And the last thing that Brentford need is both players to be sent off, and Tony missed the final through suspension.
That was a big header from Ivan Toney, a really big header. That ball was drilled in with real pace. Excellent defending.
Still, Bournemouth have the faintest glimmer of hope. A corner which will be taken on the left flank. Swung in by Danjuma, very deep, good header away from Pinnock. Rico picks it up for Bournemouth. Begovic stays forward. Opportunity for Danjuma to try and get the ball inside the penalty area. He can't afford to lose possession where he is. He's pulled it back. Rico with a chance to deliver. High hanging ball in. Begovic going up for it. Was offside. And it's a free kick to Brentford.
Well, there it was. That was the ball. Begovic attacking it. He was offside, I think. The assistant, I think, got that absolutely spot on. The ball was filtered out wide, delivered into the box, and of all the men attacking it, it was that man Asmir Begovic. Couldn't get a clean head on it, but it didn't matter. He was offside.
Marcondes has stayed down injured inside his own penalty area as a result of all the comings together inside the box. He's back on his feet. Just a little breather. 2.5 minutes of stoppage time played. 90 seconds to go, plus whatever will now be added for that break in play because of the Marcondes injury. So maybe a minute 45 still to play. 3-1 to Brentford, 3-2 on aggregate against the 10 men of Bournemouth, who will try and get it forward here with Stacey. He's lost it, pulling the shirt to force, he's gone to ground. It's a free kick. Stacey will get a yellow card, and Brentford should be able to see it out from here.
Should. I mean, this game, honestly, if we learned anything over the last couple of weeks, and particularly these playoff games, anything can still happen, but they're in a position where they want it to be. Again, it's time now for Brentford to take their time. Free kick's going to go short, surely. They're not going to put this into the box. They're going to run this into the corner.
Well, the free kick is level with the edge of the penalty area. Golos stands over it. Tony is behind him. And Bournemouth, I think, know what to expect here. Golos motioning that he's going to try and flick it inside the penalty area. I'm guessing he won't because there's no one there. So he's played it instead behind him, down towards Tony. Tony trying to win a throw, has succeeded, just fired it into the midriff of Carter Vickers. And it bounces out of play and over the line for a corner. And the 4 minutes are now up. Golos preparing to take the throw. Jared Gillett's looked at his watch. Thrown down towards the corner flag. Tony. Golos goes to ground. Pearson tries to get it away. Bidstrup puts it out of play. It's a throw, and then something else happened off the ball there. Golos is back on his feet. Billing was the Bournemouth player involved. Last few seconds, Billing throwing it forward. Anywhere will do for Brentford. Pinnock high up in the air, flicked out of play. Throw taken quickly by Stacey, but it is victory for Brentford. They are through to the playoff final for a second successive season. And just like last year, a 1-0 away defeat has been followed with a pulsating 3-1 win in the home leg. Again, they're 90 minutes away from top division football for the first time since 1947, and they will praise the resilience and the character shown in a game that turned with a controversial penalty given against Lloyd Kelly when Bournemouth were 2-0 up on aggregate. Mepham's red card, much more dyed in the wool, and Brentford has the responses. Bournemouth ran out of time with 10 men, and the Bees are through. They've beaten Bournemouth, who can't bounce back at the first attempt. Brentford's dreams live on. Brentford will be playing Swansea or Barnsley in the playoff final next Saturday. They've beaten Bournemouth 3-1 and 3-2 on aggregate.